So let's talk about damages. Okay, and since these units are similar to standard air handlers, they have most, if not all, the same electrical components, all of which are going to be susceptible to high voltage surge. Here we see all kinds of wires, control boards, contactors, transformers, and the like, which would be susceptible. But don't forget about the blower motor and, of course, the most expensive component, and we've talked about it, that compressor. And with all surge events, the damages might not always be visible and will have to be require measured testing. Since these units are generally in the basements, they could be affected by water damage. Notice the water line in this unit compared to that photo on the left. Yikes. And I would say top-down water is probably going to be even worse. Smoke and fire are also concerning for these units since they are forced air units. Here we see an air handler that is inundated with smoke, which got pulled through the system from another location. And the culprit in many smoke-related damages to air handlers is the blower, and this photo tells the story as that blower is completely covered in smoke. Again, depending on the type of smoke, we may be able to clean that blower wheel, but the bigger concern would be the blower motor. If the smoke has inundated that motor, we may have to replace that motor at a minimum. Here's an example of what happens when the evaporator coil gets covered in smoke. Depending on the type of smoke, this may or more likely may not be cleanable. And of course, there are concerns of wear and tear damages on the inside components. It does occur, especially if the unit is older, nearing its normal lifespan. Don't forget there is a water pump or pumps that's pumping the water around, and those pumps can and do wear out all the time, and not always because they're damaged. Another item that tends to wear out is the blower motor and or the related capacitor, which is, you can see there in that image right there on the right-hand side. So that was a lot, but that was a brief review of the inside items. What about the outside components? Really, the one item outside is the ground loop or loops, and they also fail. The number one cause is wear and tear, which means the pipes start to leak for some reason. But there are a few other concerns that happen occasionally. Sometimes people forget where the ground loops are and or never really knew because they bought the home and it was already installed. Similarly, they forget to tell their contractors that they're doing something else and they end up getting dug up like this. Also, sometimes tree roots move the pipes and cause them to break and leak. Other times trees get blown over in a storm like you see here, and the tree roots can pull up the pipes and break them. They can also do that, and you've maybe seen that before where they pull up electrical wires as well. Vehicles can also pose a threat while driving over the ground loops and compressing the soil, especially where the ground loops may be shallower or it's a wet day or real soft soil.